Hello, this is ASMR Vibes. Welcome back to another video. I have been playing a heck of a lot of Gears 5 over the weekend and some of the last week as well. And as you see here, I'm in Act 3 currently, and I think there's 4 acts total. So I thought I would go ahead and just give my impressions on the game so far. I thought I was far enough along to where I could kind of give, weigh in and provide my opinion. As always, guys, if you do enjoy the video, don't hesitate to leave a like, subscribe, and is always appreciated, as is feedback. Now, if you haven't played Gears 5, um, I am in Act 3, but I will really just be walking around, kind of showing the mechanics. And we're on the 5th Gears of War installment, so I'm sure most are familiar with it, but it is an ASMR video, so I'd rather be methodical and slow with it, as that would be the video I would enjoy. I just wanted to put out a quick warning, though, that it's possible there might be some light spoilers that come across, but I will not be pursuing any mission objectives while I discuss the game here. But what you will be seeing is technically Act 3. So if you're not a fan of that, I would recommend maybe playing the game first and then perhaps coming back to the video to provide your feedback and weigh it against mine. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it. Um, okay, so a little bit of backdrop. I beat Gears 1. Gears 2, I'm pretty sure I beat when it first came out. I either beat it or I got really, really close. I know there was a giant, like, worm that you, uh, end up going through and destroying this big worm thing. Um, but I did not play 3 and I did not play 4. From my understanding, 3 is the best one, but you guys can, like I said, weigh in on that. So I kind of went from 1 to 2 and now to 5, and I intend to kind of go in this weird reverse order and get 4 and then pick up 3. I'm going to go into 4 next only because it's on Game Pass and it's an easy download, and I've already had it downloaded, so I'm good to go there. Okay, so my impressions on this game so far. Let's start with the positives. Um, the combat is as fun as ever. It's just how I remember it. As far as, getting behind, oh, that frag grenade there. As far as getting behind cover, and then you have your enemies that you shoot at, right? It is like the king of cover-based shooters. At least that's how I remember it when Epic initially developed Gears 1, I believe, um, off the Unreal Engine 3. You have a companion here, and like I said, I haven't played 4 or 3, so I don't know if his name's Jack, and I don't know if he shows up in the other ones, but he's very handy. Um, you have a bunch of skills here that you can use to your advantage, and then you'll see on the bottom right, um, it says components. You find these components throughout the world that you can use to go in and upgrade Jack, and he will get, you know, improved in a different manner of ways. So that's really interesting. There's some cool stuff here too. Like you can hijack over an enemy, and they'll start, fighting the enemy for you, and it comes in handy quite a bit, especially against like snipers, or probably the main thing that I'd use them for. But there's other things that I've had to use them for. Shock trap is probably the one I use the most. I just really like it. You have these, I don't know the enemy types very well, so bear with me, guys, but you have these, oh, what the heck are they? They're these little, like, gremlin looking guys, and they'll usually like a lot of them will come at you at once, and it's just really handy. You throw it on that shock trap, and it pretty much like stuns. Like it gets stun up to like all the enemies in a specific radius. Here, you can see it in action on the bottom right. So let's see, that guy moves in and see what kind of messes him up, and it just gives you time to take out the enemy, throw a frag grenade. So Jack as a component I quite like. Um, the graphics are amazing. I'm playing on my PC, and I have a 2070 Super and an i7 8th gen for the nerds out there, with 16 gigs of RAM. It is running off my mechanical drive, but that doesn't seem to be an issue. Um, it just looks really, really nice. There are some like weird glitches I ran into in the second act. I don't know if I'm alone in that. Um, the best way I can think of it to explain is like spaghettification. When like you get through a black hole and your body kind of like is supposed to just get ripped apart. That's kind of what I saw in Act 2. Like, I would kill an enemy with my rifle, and then he would just like, it was creepy. He would just rip apart at like the top of his head, and it was like the scariest thing in the game, but it was a glitch. um, so yeah, that was really odd. Each act has, unique like landscapes and biomes, so I don't know where the heck in the world like red sand would be like this, but I think they mentioned that this used to be an ocean, so maybe this is like the bottom of an ocean. Some kind of weird effect there. I'm not entirely sure. Like I said, I'm not completely up to date on all the lore. Um, Going into some of the negatives, man. So like I said, I haven't played 4, but I did some quick research before I jumped into 5. And with 5, they seem to make this like, they tried to make this, let's go to the map here, like an open world Gears. They even dropped the complete title, like it used to be Gears of War, and now it's just Gears 5. I don't know if they did that for 4 too, and maybe that doesn't matter at all, but I found it interesting. But anyways, you have this huge world map. Um, the problem I have with it is, in my opinion, they sort of turned Gears into like a giant fetch quest, and maybe the missions in Gears of War have always been like a fetch quest, but it just really seems like it now. Like when I remember playing Gears 1 and 2, and it was just like non-stop action, um, which is awesome. That's kind of why I play these games, to jump in and have some quick fun. And I'm completely for a shake 'em in formula. I imagine as a developer, you might get tired of just making the same thing in and out, so you want to shake things up a little bit. The problem is that, like I said, everything feels like a fetch quest. For example, let's see if I can use the mouse here. Um, I'm gonna try not to show exactly in the missions, but okay. Oh well. Um, Here, let's go back. Um, okay, I'm trying not to give anything away, but essentially it's like I get into Act 3, and you have to go to talk to a main character. You go talk to the main character, and then that main character sends you over to character B. Character B then gives you 2 objectives: your main objective, your secondary objective. That's that's good in and of itself, because the secondary objective here was somewhat interesting. The problem is this map is so large that honestly, I felt like there needed to be more objectives or more things to do. Perhaps a random element like Rockstar's gotten really good at with the Red Dead Redemption games. But in this, you'll do the secondary objective, which are fun when you get there. It can take a while. It can take sometimes 5 minutes or so to drive to that location, as a point of reference. Here's where I started, and here is where I had to go, or possibly here. Um, and if this was like the only time I had to do that, I don't think it would bug me as much, but that's pretty much the game. It's like driving, kind of like a Red Dead Redemption minus the random elements. So like you're driving from point A to point B, and that's it. You're riding this it's called a skiff. And it's okay to ride. Like I get that they were trying to make it fun, right? But this is what you're doing here. And there's nothing in between. Now, the uniqueness in Act 3 is that there are these like tornadoes that come up. Um, and you have to watch out for that. We'll see if we can run into any. Um, they were over this way before. Um, and that can make it kind of interesting. But that's the first time that that's happened for me, and I'm all the way in Act 3, so you can imagine that it's not. Yeah, there we go. So that's interesting, right? Um, go ahead and get the heck out of here. I'm sure it's maybe a little loud. Um, so like, it might even look really fun, but other than, let's go ahead and fix the audio here. I have it pretty low already, but here we'll put everything down to 5. There we go. But other than that, like, I don't know. It's just pretty boring, I guess, is the best way to put it. Like in between the actual missions. The other negative I have is the set pieces don't seem as like dramatic or cinematic as the other Gears games, and I know I don't have the full like repertoire of games to make a comparison, but I'm making my comparison off of 1 and 2, and I'm skipping 3 and 4, so just note that. But um, there just doesn't seem to be as many set pieces, as many high octane action moments like there were in the games that I've played in the past. Now, what I will say is the characters are pretty interesting. The main character, um, let's see, I'm pretty terrible with names if you guys have watched my other videos. So I'm gonna see if I can I can't find them. I only remember one name. Well, a few here. We've got Dell and Foz, because that's a weird name, and JD. Look at that, I'm impressing myself. I just can't remember the main character's name, which is pretty funny. Um, they're pretty interesting. I think JD was like the main character in 4. I could be wrong about that. He's got a shaved head here. Um, and then I really like Dell. Like he's a pretty cool character. He's got some like, I don't know, he's just a really smart guy. And he's the one who configures Jack and does some other like really important things, um, you know, in the game. But characters are pretty interesting. It's just there doesn't seem to be enough like cinematic, high action-packed moments. And the action-packed moments that you run into are a blast, and then they end, and it's sad. So for me, the funnest part I've had in this game, I want to say, is in Act 3. And this is like chartering towards a little bit of spoiler, but not really. You're in this like rocket facility. I'll leave it at that. And you have to like assemble a rocket. Well, not really. You're not assembling a rocket, but you're in a rocket facility, and you're essentially this facility's huge, and it just looks so cool. And you're going along and like fighting all these guys. You're in an enclosed space, and there's like this main thing that you're trying to like keep tabs on. And I don't know, for me that was the most fun I had. um, Act 2 was okay. I liked Act 1 quite a bit. um, when you run into the main protagonist's uncle, and that was cool. There's like some pretty interesting scenes there. But overall, I know it sounds like I'm harping on the game. I'm really not. I'm just trying to mention on some of the things that I think that they could improve on for the next one. Like clearly these developers, um, you know, they wanted to make an open world game, but maybe they shoehorned it in a little too much. Maybe there's some things that can be learned here for the next Gears. That's all. Like I hope I actually like the direction with the open world, but they have to do it better. There's just I would prefer, like, if I had the choice between open world and linear, I'd probably go linear. I feel like we have enough open world games, and I have a feeling that when 5 came out, open world games were like all the rage. So it was like, oh, let's make ours open world too. Um, but I don't know. I'm just kind of just kind of talking at this point and rambling. Could be 100% wrong on that. Um, but overall, so far, I'm having a ton of fun, and if I absolutely had to rate this game right now, I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10. It's like really good, like fast food fun for me. Like, it's maybe not like the best thing for me, but man, do I enjoy every second of it. Um, and that's kind of how I've been playing this game. Like, I'm like thinking to myself every time I load this game up, I'm like, "Oh, I could be doing something else." But then I'm like, well, it's a lot of fun to shoot people, and when I get to where I need to be, so I just end up playing the game more. That being said, I haven't even touched on the multiplayer, so I'm not going to comment on that. I haven't played it one bit, so I have a feeling that like maybe most people, I don't know the percentage, but maybe most people are playing this for the multiplayer, and maybe the single player is like second fiddle. I'm more of a single player guy, and I don't often play multiplayer games. I will from time to time, but um, I'm usually in it, at least initially, to get through the single player story. So if you guys have made it this far, you are awesome, and I appreciate you. And let me know um, if you have played Gears 5 and what your thoughts are on it, and B, have you played the multiplayer? Is it worth me jumping into it? I'd love to play with you guys, and you can kind of show me the ropes. Definitely open to something like that, or even like I wouldn't mind, rerunning through some of the campaign with people. I have a feeling that the game would maybe be a lot more fun with a party, because then it's like you have to jump on this stupid skiff thing, but at least you're with people, so it's not so bad. But yeah, open to hear what you guys think of the game, and as always, I do appreciate you watching. I hope you have a terrific rest of your day, or evening, or morning, or whatever time of the day it is for you. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day.